Hello YouTube, this is Brian Tubbs coming at you with another video. This is part 2 of the video that I shot a little earlier with the blocks that I'm making for this packaging company. So what I'm going to be doing is, as I said in the previous video, I'll be cutting off these flaps, the outside flaps that go on top of the box. Hold on one second, let me do an example here. All right, so this is the logo box, and what I'm going to be doing is the inside flaps go in here like this, and then the top flaps roll over those inner flaps, and it looks, of course, looks like that. But what I'm going to be doing now, see, when you have cardboard and you fold the flaps, the inner flaps in, and then you fold the outer flaps over them, it's fine. There's no problem, because the cardboard has some give to it. But when you're using metal, it doesn't give. So it wants to kind of bunch up and tighten up in this section here. And so what it'll do is, if, like, say if I put my finger in here, now the cardboard has a problem folding because of that tension that's there. And that's the same thing when you are using metal to make a box. It's this flap is trying to fight this flap to lay down, and this flap is trying to keep it from laying down. And it puts a ton of tension in this section. So when you fold the flap down, it's going to raise up in this section here a little bit. You're going to have like a little belly right there. And the only way you can really get it to sit down is really force that down with clamps and everything else, and then go from the inside and try and weld it shut. Well, that's fine on the top section, because I can go through the bottom section and get in there and weld it. But when I close the bottom section, I can't get inside. So the only thing I can do with the bottom is just weld down the seam and maybe weld along this seam, but still in the center area, it's going to want to bow up or belly up. And so the way that I found to get around that, and see, I was building like the boxes, and I went out and bought some 600-pound clamps by DeWalt, and I was clamping these areas shut and forcing it closed, and then I would, weld it and all that from the inside and whatnot, not realizing that when I start stacking the boxes, having a little belly here and here, the boxes would not sit, they wouldn't sit flat on top of the other box. So if they wouldn't sit flat, I couldn't weld this box to that box, because if it had a belly, see, I need this to be tight. This box need that to be tight, as tight as I can get it. But if it has a belly underneath, it's going to raise that box up, and it's going to have a big gap right there. And now I can't weld in there because this is bowing under here. So what I'm doing is I'm going to basically just cut the top flaps off completely, and then once I get the box welded up, I'll take these, set them on there nice and flat. It won't have this tension here. They'll sit nice and flat. I'll weld the top, this section here, on both sides from the inside, to make those sit nice and neat and all that stuff. Then I'll come out, clamp these edges down slightly, and then just weld this seam up. And what that'll do is allow these boxes to just sit flat. So when I set one box on top of the other, it'll just sit flat, and I'll be able to weld that side seam from this box to the top seam of the box below it. It takes a little bit more work, but I think it's the best way to go because I'm not having to fight with metal trying to get it to sit flat. And then, since it's not sitting flat, I would have to try and figure out some kind of way to smash it down so it'll sit flatter against the box it's sitting on, and then try and weld in there. But I also want to have all those big gaps and all that ugliness. So I'd rather just go ahead and cut these. I consider them the top flaps. I'll just cut all those off, and then once I get the box together, and then I'll be able to just weld everything back together. And the problem that I'm having right now was not a problem, but it's a weight issue. And when I say wait, I'm waiting for the guys to get me this piece right here. Because what's happening is the logo is going to be on this piece right here. So when this box folds up, the logo will be on this section right here. This is 18 by 18. So I'm waiting for them to send me the piece of 18 by 18 that will go in this spot right here. And then I can get the stainless steel, cut the stainless steel, weld the stainless steel behind that piece because it's going to be open. It's going to have the logo. Stainless steel is going to go behind it. So when you look at the box, you'll see the stainless steel behind the Core 10 design. So what I'm going to have to do, not only cut off these outer flaps, there's 4 of them, I'm going to have to cut this panel off. This panel will be cut off. And when they send me the other panel, I'm going to have to put that panel here, weld it in, and then finish the box. But what I'm going to do, before I get the panel, I'm going to go ahead and fold the box up so that when I get that panel, I can just, as I say, just put the stainless steel on the back side, weld it in, then I'll take that piece and just set it right on top, weld along that seam, weld this tab behind it to hold it in place, fold all of the inner flaps down, then I'll take the outer flaps, set them on, and just weld everything up. So that's the only thing that's holding this project up, is waiting for them to get the logo cut in and then get the logo, that piece, to me, because they're in Indiana. It's about a 2.5, 3 hour drive from here, and they are still tweaking the logo that's going to go on this piece. So that's kind of my delay right now, because had I got the logo last week, this whole thing would have been finished. It would have been shipped to them by now. But that's just kind of how it goes when you're working with people, because we were working with the one guy that bought the 2 pieces from us, but he's having to work with other people to try and pull this whole thing together. So it'll work out, but it's just taking a little bit longer than we had expected, in a sense. So what I'm going to do is put a straight edge on here, define my line, then I'm going to take the plasma cutter and just cut these pieces off. I already have them marked as top cut, and that's the bottom logo. This piece will go back on the logo piece. This will go back on the logo piece. then I have bottom cut. So what I'll do is I have top cut, bottom cut, so I'll know which ones are cut off, and I'll know where they go when I put them back together. This will be on the top, that'll be on the bottom. That's how I kind of have it set up. So whether I had the logo here or not, I'm still going to do everything the same way. The only thing I'm not going to do at this point is cut this 18 by 18 off. I'm not going to cut it off yet because they might change their mind and say, let's just do it without the logo. And if I cut this off, then I got to weld it back on. So I'll just leave it on there until I get the other piece in my hand. Then I'll cut this section off, splice the other section in, and go ahead and finish the box. So what I'm going to do now is just get this all lined up. Then I'll turn the plasma cutter on and get going with that. And my straight edge is just a piece of aluminum. It's probably 1/4 inch thick and 6 feet long. It worked out well because I was using this straight edge, which is a ruler straight edge. It's I think it's 60 inches. It's about 5 feet, which would have been too short for what I was doing, so I would have had to put an extension on it to make the rest of the marks and cuts and whatnot. But I bought this piece for something totally different. I was gonna make a frame out of it. So when we do art shows, it'll be like a stand, and it'll have our process written on paper, and it'll be covered in like a film, so the rain won't get on it. But it'll kind of explain the process, the materials we use, and all that stuff. Because a lot of times when people come to shows and they see Core 10 pieces, they think it's rust. And they'll ask us the question, why are you using aluminum and rusted out pieces? And we'll say it's not aluminum, it's stainless steel and Core 10, and that's not rust, it's more of a copper patina. So we just need to be able to explain to people what it is, so they don't have to come into the booth every time asking us what it is. They'll be able to read it. But I saw it when I started making the boxes, and I said, well, I might be able to use this as a straight edge as opposed to using the other thing because this is a little bit longer. And lo and behold, it worked out perfectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the plasma cutter, get it all lined up, now turn it on and start making the cut. All right, so put it there. So what I'm trying to do is make the cut on this flap a little bit higher than when this folds down. I want this cut to be a little bit higher than that. So when I lay this piece on, I won't have this large gap along the side that I have to fill in. So I'm just trying to guesstimate when I lay this flap on top of this one, when the boxes are folded, I just need to have just a small little gap going through there. Because I might MIG it and I might TIG it, just depends. I might MIG everywhere else, but when I get to the front side where the logo and the stainless steel will be, I don't want to do too much MIGging there because I don't want to get spatter onto that stainless steel. So I'll probably have to TIG the upper and lower flap back on. But it'll just depend. So those are all the things I have to think about while I'm making these cuts. That might be okay. Not too bad. I just have to remember to not cut off all the flaps, because when I have this straight edge on there, normally when I have a straight edge on there, I'll just take it and just go all the way down just to get everything out the way. But I can't do that with this one, so I got to keep that in mind. There. It's just a constant thinking, constantly. I'm thinking, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if I don't have enough material? Oh, no. But I think I'll be okay. My biggest concern right now is just not cutting all the way through. So let me get my hood on. Let me turn the plasma cutter on. Here we go. One. And this is what the flaps look like. They are 18 by 9. Because the box is 18 cube, so when I close this flap down, that's 9. Close the other flap down, that's 9. So that'll take up that 18 space. So I got to put on here logo. So this is what I wrote on there. If you guys can see it. I have an arrow going up, top, cut, and I have logo written down here. So I know that this piece goes with the logo box, that side of the logo box. And then top cut. And then this one just says top cut with an arrow. Just letting me know when I put the box back together that this is the bottom edge that will have to be welded to here. Because I want this front edge to remain clean. This is a factory edge. That edge is factory. So I wanted to keep that as smooth as I possibly can. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is cut the lower two pieces off. Basically just doing the same thing. I think I might just turn the whole thing around. That way you guys can see, as opposed to me having to go to the other side and make the cut. So this panel weighs about 71 pounds, somewhere in there. But with those two pieces gone, it's probably more like 67 pounds, somewhere in there right now. So I just take it, spin it. It's a little awkward, that's all. All right. Gotta get these hanging off of the edge of these horses so I won't cut through the horse with the plasma cutter. All right, let me ground it. And I'm going to put a little bit of weight on it just to kind of even it out some, because I do not want this thing to fall. All right. Grab my straight edge. And just basically do the same thing. All right, here we go. Make sure I'm cutting the right one. All right. It was a success because I didn't cut these off. All right, let me put my arrows here. Bottom. Just going up. All right, so these are basically the same thing. It's just I have bottom logo cut with an arrow, because this is the edge that's going to fold as a flap. Since it's on the bottom, it doesn't have to be as perfect as the one on top, because one on top, you'll be able to see that more so than you will be able to see this bottom. So that's pretty much it for these cuts. Now the only other thing I have to do when I get the piece from them, the logo piece, is just I have a mark going through here at 18 by 18. One thing I'm going to have to do is cut this panel off, take the panel they're going to send me, lay it on, weld it on from the back side more so, because I'm going to be bending it up. But actually, when I get that panel, this wall would be bent. I'll just set it on there and just do my welding. So I guess what I'm going to do now is try and put some bends on these flaps just to get this box bent, just to get it started. I got to do some drilling and all that kind of stuff, so it's going to take a while. But guys, that's going to do it for this video, because I'm going to have to put this in positions where you guys won't be able to see it that well. So I'm going to have to just make another video to let you guys see where I am in the process and all that stuff. And so that's going to do it for today. And as usual, I'm going to say peace out, and I'll see you guys on the next video. All right, thanks. Have a good day.